Welcome to A&Me. I'm Mags and I write a blog, A&Me. And I write about my parenting struggles, challenges, strategies that I implement to help my son Reese, who's autistic. Now, one of the biggest challenges every parent will face is toilet training. And it's something I'm asked about all the time on my blog and on my Facebook page. Now, today, I want to share with you my top tips for toilet training. These will all be in the description below, so if you lose track in the video, please check out the description. Also, there'll be a link below that will take you to my webpage that will talk you through all these tips and strategies that I use every day. And one of the great things about being a parent is I've taken these all from the professionals and I've done what works for us in my home. So toilet training is one of the hardest things any parent can try and master. It is one of the greatest accomplishments I've achieved as a parent. And when your child is on the spectrum, it just adds many different challenges to you. So today I'm going to go through all those tips to help you succeed at this and help your child become dry and able to use the toilet whenever they need to. So my very first tip, if you have to Google toilet training, you will get loads of advice. And most of the advice is pretty similar and all of it is valid. So this is from reward charts and, taking your time with it, getting them used to the toilet, whatever the case is in those tips, they are all valid. And I really urge every parent, if they have a child on the spectrum or if they have a child with communication difficulties or are non-verbal, pre-verbal, go and look on Google at the general toilet training tips and get used to those and understand what they are. I'm not going to go into those today because they are all out there and available. But what is not available that I found is how do you add to these? How do you get over that hurdle of the challenges parents like us face? So that was my first tip. Go out and have a look on Google. My second tip is you are not going to tackle night times. We are only talking here about daytime. We are going to get your child to go to the toilet by themselves eventually during the day. Night times, naps will happen afterwards. So still put them in the nappy, put them in their pull-up when they go down for a nap. And then you can tackle that, and that might be a few years later or a few months depending on your child's progress. My third tip is to set your expectations. Now, my son Reese is autistic and I also have two other children who are neurotypical. And to give you an idea about expectations of toilet training, my two neurotypical children took about 4 days and were happily going to the toilet on their own. Yes, there was accidents afterwards and we had a little bit of watching out for that toilet dance and stuff like that. But in general, within the week, it was done. Toilet training was done. And you're going to see that if you Google on the internet, how long does it take to toilet train your child? You'll probably see that within a week, within, 4 days, you will have toilet trained your child. Now, setting your expectations if your child has communication difficulties, is autistic, is on that pathway to diagnosis, you need to expect or understand it is going to take a lot longer. Okay, now to put this in perspective, what took 4 days to a week for my other two children took about 4 or 5 months for Reese, my autistic child. We achieved the exact same outcome, but it took a lot longer. So make sure you understand that and you are in this for the long haul. My fourth tip is to get support. So exactly following on from tip 3, if it's gonna take you longer, you are going to really struggle all by yourself trying to do this. Okay, you can sit at home and you can challenge and you can get through toilet training if it's for 4 days, 5 days a week. You can do that, as tough as it is. But for 5 months of this, you are going to struggle. Now, if you've got, your parents, your in-laws, your husband, your partner, your wife, whoever that might be, get them involved and understand that this is a team challenge, something you have to get together. And that also includes the school, your nursery, any other carers involved, anyone else that's involved. Make sure you're all together, that you are following the same objective and that you are sharing what you've got to do. One of our major breakthroughs came from the nursery of getting my son on the toilet and finding a way to do that when we were all struggling massively. So make sure you're all geared up, communicating every day or even more frequently about what you're looking to achieve and how you're all tackling those challenges. Number 5, okay, is communication. There is a very clear question. Can I teach my child to be toilet trained if they cannot speak, if they cannot communicate language? Yes, you can, okay? It is totally up to you if you want to wait to get more communication in place, but do not let it hinder you teaching your child to be toilet trained. There are many different methods of communication. If you want to see different methods of communication, head to my Facebook page, my website, all the details in the description below. And I talk a lot about communication. Communication is not just verbal, it is massively non-verbal. It is through gestures and many other strategies. You can teach your child Makaton for the toilet and get them to respond as well. You can use pictures, sequences, and even spoken language or objects of reference. All these things that if you are not experiencing them, please look at my other social media sites and especially my webpage, and I can show you how to communicate with your child in a different way to verbal communication. So don't let that hinder you. You can still teach your child how to get toilet trained. Number 6, do not force anything. Whatever you do, in anything you teach your child, do not force them. Everything you will achieve, and you will achieve the best way you can, is through encouragement, is through small steps, perseverance, and little small gains as well. As much as I wanted to take my son and just sit him on the toilet and get that done, it is going to set you back many steps, okay? So you've got to go at the pace of your child, make sure that you are looking at those challenges, how to overcome them, and back to the previous point, have that support and have that help as well, okay? Number 7 tip, okay, do not use a potty. So you will go out and you'll see amazing potties out there. You will Google it, you'll see potties. This is the way we call it, potty training. Do not use a potty if your child is finds difficult to transition, finds difficult for change, or is diagnosed already as autistic. It is one of those things. If you teach them how to go on the potty after all these months in training, you are then going to have to go through it all again to teach them to go on the toilet. So my advice is get them straight onto the toilet. You want to make that comfortable, so you want to get one of those toilet seats so that they are not scared about falling in. They feel safe sitting on the toilet. And you also want to get one of the little steps so that their feet are up and they can able to get on there, no problem. So very important, go straight to the toilet and then you're done. When you go out, there's toilets, they look the same, you can move on to that as well. Number 8 is go straight to pants, okay? Now this is very much about you being ready as much as your child being ready. My son Reese was, and still is, that individual who if something is working for them, they will stick with it. Why change it? Nappies, pull-ups were working for Reese, so why on earth would I change that? He was not going to venture away from those. He still in many cases today will not venture away from something that works for him. So we just made a decision. We saw he was ready. We toilet trained him at about 3.5 years old and we put him into pants. Now, back to the earlier tips, this is going to take a while. You're going to have to accept things. My son did not go on the toilet for the first month, okay? We were still going through those steps of trying to get him to go on the toilet. So we had many accidents, a lot of cleanup, but through that support network, we had decided that he was ready to be toilet trained. And so we allowed him, we decided to put him in pants and he got used to those sensations of not feeling dry anymore. And that really helped. And that's one of those old fashioned tips about realizing that, oh, something's different here. I'm going to have to now try look at going on the toilet. Straight to pants and move on. Number 9 is to let them do whatever they want. Now, what this means is that you are going to forget everything else you've tried to do, okay, in terms of, you know, using different tools, transitioning between things. If your child is going to sit on the toilet or go towards those steps to get on the toilet, let them watch their iPad. Let them eat an ice lolly while they're sitting on the toilet. Let them hold 2 iPads on the toilet. Let them have all their books, everything. Make that area the best place they want to be, okay? As unhygienic as it is, and it may sound, eating on the toilet, forget about all those sort of things. You are focusing on that one goal in mind, which is to get them going on the toilet. Okay, number 10. Forget about hand washing, which is sort of a roll on from the previous tip. So This sounds like madness, but what you're going to do is you're going to take the whole toilet sequence or steps and you're going to focus on one at a time. So the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to focus on them going on the toilet. So you're not going to worry about them trying to, get their trousers down, get their pants down, and on the other side of the sequence, washing their hands, drying their hands, doing all those elements as well, flushing the toilet, for example. So what you're going to do is you're going to do that all for them, okay? And you're going to focus on that one bit about them sitting on the toilet and doing their business, okay? You'll see later those other things will come and build onto that. So you're going to break down your task into little steps and you're going to focus on one step at a time. And do not take on more than you can. Take your time over this. Okay, number 11 is reward, 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 okay? This is back to the very first tip which I said about Googling what you do. Reward your child with whatever reward you think will work. So when you look online, they might talk about sticker charts and ticks and 5 ticks and they get a chocolate. Did not work for us. We went straight to the chocolate. We got buttons. Buttons are fantastic. A button for them to sit on the toilet and a button if they do something or whatever stage you're at. You can give them chocolate. You're their parents. Make a decision. We even in the school setting, tell them, here's a pile of buttons. Give my child buttons to allow them to go to the toilet. So constant rewards, praise, positivity, recognition, high fives, all of that in abundance. Number 12 is to get out. Back to the previous tips. You're going to be doing this for a long time, okay? If you're going to sit in your house, you are going to go mad. And your child's going to go mad. They're going to get cabin fever. And that is going to mean you are going to regress and things are not going to happen. So what you want to do is you just want to get up, take a pile of change of clothes with you. Think about where you want to go. Maybe you want to just go to the park where if something happens, you can easily clean up, or somewhere close that you can get home. Don't go to the soft play centre where who knows what will happen as they're running up a ramp, okay? Be very selective about where you go, but make sure you get out the house, okay? For you and your child, you need to get out and you need to have that for your own mental health. Number 13, become a cleaning expert, and this links to the previous tip. So change your clothes, even in the house, get all the cleaning equipment and things you need. Carpet cleaner, put down mats, there's some disinfectant wipes. You're going to be skilled at it, and whenever you clean up, do not even worry about showing your child. You do that without them seeing. Do not let that deter the process. But you're going to have everything with you when you go out. You're going to clean. You're going to ask them at the venue if you need to grab the disinfectant stuff and clean up after your child. Accept that's what you're going to do, because otherwise you're not going to move on and you're not going to get out of that house. Number 14, okay, as I said earlier, once you do manage to get your child on the toilet and they are going, or you recognizing they need to go and you're taking them, and that process is comfortable for your child, you can then start adding on the different steps, okay? There are some really good tools and ideas out there. You can get picture sequences of the different parts they need to do, from helping them to take their trousers down, helping them onto the toilet, to the washing, to the drying, to the flushing of the toilet, okay? So you're going to help them do that, and you're not going to jump straight into doing everything at once. You're going to take each little step at one time and you're going to add them on, and you're going to consistently help them with that, and keep persevering with that as well. And then my very last tip, number 15, is be creative and never give up, okay? And when I say creative, this is about trying to understand what your child likes. What we had was trying to get my son onto the toilet. It was an absolute impossible task. And what we found out is that my son enjoyed the counting and the numbers. We knew that, and we were able to actually get him on the toilet by counting. And slowly counting out to how long he could sit on there, and giving him a cuddle on the toilet as well. And that was so creative and worked for us. Also, never give up. I said at the very beginning, this is going to take a really long time, okay? You want to ensure that you keep going. You will have setbacks. It will be a real struggle, but you must never give up and keep going. Use your support network to do that. So that's my 15 tips for toilet training with children on the spectrum, or if they have communication challenges. I hope it will work. They're all down in the description below. If you have any comments, please share them with me. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and follow my channel. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you follow my page, and any comments I'll come back on. I'd love to hear how it's getting on, and share your experiences, and follow any other video on here. I'm here to help and share what works for us.